Hey, happy Monday morning. This is Top Male Beachbody Coach Scotty Hobbs, and I have a very important message that I want to give to you guys today about the power of visualization. How many of you guys struggle with actually seeing the place that you want to go with your life or business or your relationships? I know it was hard for me in the beginning to understand this concept because we oftentimes think, I've always been like this is who I always am. Who am I to expect that this future thing or this future goal is what I'm going to have in my life? So I want to give you three specific examples of visualization, setting goals and visualizing the goals that have happened to me in my 4 years as a team Beachbody coach. The first one specifically was, my initial goal when I became a coach was I wanted to bring my wife home from work. I was sick and tired of her working nights at the hotel chain and me working days, and we never saw each other. So when I sat down to do my work, my goal was to bring her home from work. So every single day I spent 10-15 minutes visualizing that goal and what it would actually feel like to have her home at nights and to be able to raise our kids together instead of separate. So 14 months later, obviously, as you guys have heard of in our story, I was able to bring her home from work, and she no longer worked at the hotel. But I saw that every single day. I knew what that would feel like. I had no proof that I could do it other than seeing that other people had done it, but I visualized it and I felt it every single day what that would be like. The second one that I want to share with you guys, and a specific example that I don't think I talk about much on video, or I have ever talked about on video, but I've talked to one-on-one with people. I know Doug Moss, head of sales and marketing from the Western region, shares this with people all the time after I shared it with him over a year ago. But it was a funny thing. It was January Super Saturday after we were announced number 4 coach, number 4 team in the company. So I achieved the status of elite top 10. And people were asking me at this event, like, oh my gosh, Scotty, how does it feel? Like, you're a top 10 coach. Tell me about it. What's it feel like? And, honestly, it was kind of a confusing moment in a way, because this was such a huge goal, to be in the top 10 out of, 200,000 coaches. And, I didn't really feel it like they were feeling it more than I was, let's say it like that. And the reason was very simple. It wasn't like a big, overwhelming, surprising thing to me. And the answer that I gave them is, it feels normal. It's just a normal day to me because I have felt this. I've experienced this day of being announced top 10 coach for the past 365 days. Because on January 1st, that was the goal that I visualized every single morning. So I saw myself getting recognized by corporate at the Super Saturday event. I saw my banner at Summit. I saw the social media posts of, Scotty Hobbs, top 10 coach, and specifically had the goal of in the top 5. And we ended in the top 4 that year. So that is a pure example of me visualizing every single day. This is how it's going to feel. This is what it's going to be like. This is what the day is going to be like. This is what the team's going to look like. And I visualized and I saw that so clearly that when the day came that they celebrated top 10 coach at Super Saturday, it was just like a normal day to me. I was just like, I've already felt this for the past year. This is an amazing thing. This is an accomplishment. But it was more of a testimony that visualization, setting a goal, visualizing it, seeing yourself there before it happens is a truth and a fact that will happen in your life when you apply that and then apply the work behind it. Have that faith and then apply the work. So that was the second one. The next one, I believe, was paying off our home. And I remember specifically setting the goal to pay off our house. It was the beginning of 2013, and I decided I'm going to pay off this home. This was the biggest fear. Now that my wife is home from work, I've left my job and I do Beachbody full time. What's the next goal? And it was paying off our home, paying off debt and having absolutely no debt. And so I was like, that's going to be cool. I'm going to pay it off by the end of the year. I did the math, and it was possible to pay it off by December. This was when I was writing down my January, my New Year's resolution, New Year's goals. And I remember writing it out and I was like, this is possible. I can do this. I can pay off my house. The numbers match up. The numbers work. If I just keep working hard, I'm going to be able to pay my house off. Lo and behold, Super Saturday, they announced a new award called, it was the Financial Freedom Award. So what they said is there was an award for paying off your credit cards, in school loan debts, and so forth. But the big one was having no mortgage, have no debt whatsoever, and you would get to burn your mortgage at Summit. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want that so bad. That would be so cool. Yes, for me, because it's already a goal I have to pay off my home, but that would be so inspiring to be able to show other people. Not only you can build a business, create freedom, but you can live debt free. And you can live smart with the income that you build with Team Beachbody. So that was my goal. And guys, when I set that goal, I'll be really specific with you. It was nearly impossible. I'll tell you the numbers, so I'll need to put an income claimer below this post, but this was back early 2013, and we were making somewhere near just over $3,000 a week. And I owed $100,000 on our home. So if you guys do the math, that's impossible. You know, it's very possible to build a business and use all of that money throughout the entire year and pay off the house. That's possible, because that's, you know, over 100,000. I could live off of 25,000, put 100,000 towards the house. So the thing is when they announced that award, it had to be paid off by mid-May to be recognized at Summit. Now that's impossible. If you look at that goal, look at the numbers, that's impossible. With $3,000 a week and 5 months, that's impossible to be able to pay off that house on that time. But you know what? I set that goal because I'd seen how visualization and setting goals worked for me in the past. I set that goal, and what I did is I sat in my hot tub every single morning for those 15 minutes in the backyard of that home I wanted to pay off, and I talked to myself like a weirdo. I was like, oh man, this feels so awesome, you know, sitting back here, this is my full-time job, I have no debt, this house is completely paid off, you know, this feels amazing, this is such an accomplishment, and I feel just absolutely blessed that I have no more debt. And I spoke like that to myself every single morning, and you guys know what happened? By May 1st, not mid-May, May 1st, we paid $100,000 off on that home and completely paid it off. And I made a video on that on this YouTube channel as well, which was a very emotional experience for me because I put the video camera up while I was paying it off. And if you want to watch that, feel free to watch that. But that's the second example of visualization. Let me give you the third example that I have. You see behind me, this is Henry's Lake. And the reason this place is so special to me is this is where my dad and my grandpa and I, when I was a child, used to come fishing all the time. And we used to stay in my aunt's cabin like 20 miles away from here. We'd get up at like 3:30 in the morning, we'd buzz out to the middle of this lake and we'd fish. The fondest memories that I have, the things that I remember most as a child. So I remember back when I was little, we used to like, you know, just out there doing nothing, right? Fishing and just chatting and looking at these cabins on this lake and be like, man, how is this even possible that somebody could have and own a cabin like this on the lake? You know, imagine if you could just buzz right out and fish right from your cabin. And I remember that as a child and as a youth. So the thing is, my grandfather, he passed away when I was on my mission 12, 13 years ago. And I was serving a mission for my church in Venezuela. You know, I looked at my grandpa as one of my best friends. We used to hunt, fish, camp together, and so that was hard on me. And so one of the reasons I have this cabin today is because I want to create those memories for my children and for the people that I love. But also it's that place where I can reminisce and remember my grandpa and memories of my childhood. So that's why I love this place. But let me talk to you guys about this place, right? So I used to think, like, how is that impossible for somebody to own a house and then have somebody somewhere like this to spend time with family and create those memories? So it was about 4 years ago, guys. Actually, a little more than 4 years ago, because I became a coach just over 4 years ago. I remember I was trying to start a traditional business, a brick and mortar business of some sort. And I talked to a good friend of mine in Idaho Falls that owns a hotel chain, and he also is the CEO of another company that's a global company, and getting ideas. And I was like, one of the ideas I had was maybe start a hair salon, because my sister's a hairstylist. So maybe I can start a salon, our own business, make it unique, you know, make it something exciting and different, and we can build a business like that, and my sister can run it, and that could be a business I run that can give my, you know, give us the income that my wife can come home from work. Because all I needed was a business that was profitable, $10,000, right? So here's the unique and amazing thing. So I decided to start making signs. So custom homemade signs for cabins. And one of the first ones I did was for free for my aunt's cabin that's 20 minutes away from here. But I remember making, I probably made 20 signs. And these signs, guys, they took me like 30 hours or so to draw on AutoCAD. I drew them on AutoCAD, had them cut out on a laser, and I sold them. And honestly, you know, I wanted to give people the best deal that I could and make it the best quality work that I could. And I probably did about 20 signs, and I sold them for like 150 bucks. So literally after buying the metal and spending 30 hours of it, I literally made like 17 cents an hour. But I was in love with it. I had fun with it. I was making it, for people, and they were so excited to get it and so happy about them and so impressed with them. I was very fulfilled in making them. So I was willing to put in that work. Only thing is, it wasn't profitable. No way was I gonna at that time bring my wife home, and it wasn't something I could expand really with the time that I had. So you guys know, eventually I became a Team Beachbody coach. Was the most smart thing I ever did. And guys, when I started this sign business, I knew about Beachbody coaching. I was just too stubborn to start. I was too stubborn to become a coach. So one of the things I did when I was making the signs is I made myself a sign. And I made a sign for my future cabin that I had no idea how I'd have someday, but one day I knew I would have one. So I made this sign, and I made it the view that I wanted for my cabin. The view I wanted to look at every single day of my life with this cabin. And so I made this sign without having a cabin that I would put at my cabin. And it now sits in the living room. I'm outside the cabin right now. It now sits in the living room downstairs. But I want you guys to look at this view out here. And I'm gonna have to walk around to really show this to you, but there's a view out there. And I'm gonna show you this sign. Hopefully you guys can see it. So if you can see it, it's a grizzly bear. Like over here's the mouth. Take a good look at it. Is the mouth. So over here's the mouth, and we have some trees. We have a big mountain peak right here. If you guys can see, there's a big mountain peak. There's a lake right here with some trees, and there's an elk right here. But here's a big lake, a mountain, some trees, and then right here is like a pond. So if you guys can take a look at that, you can see clearly I drew out what I wanted for a view. A mountain peak, a lake, a pond, wildlife. That's an elk right there. So, and then the trees, obviously. So this is the view. I'm gonna set this down or hold it, and I'm gonna go show you guys this view. Sorry, that was a little bit jumpy. It's a little bit, there's been some fires in Idaho, so you can't see, but let me see from right here. So there's a mountain peak, there's the trees on both sides, and then there's a pond right there. And the cool thing, guys, is in the middle of the winter, some moose come and they live here, and they hang out on the edge of that pond just like that elk. I know it sounds crazy, but I visualized it to the point where I drew out what I wanted. Just put the mountain on the mountain, the pond on the pond, and the lake on the lake. And that is the power of visualization. And I did that before I became a Team Beachbody coach. I had those dreams, I had that vision for what I wanted for my life. And then when I found Team Beachbody, it was just a matter of setting the goals, visualizing it, and then applying what's been working for everybody else. So I wanted to share that with you guys so you can understand the true power of visualizing your goals, visualizing what you want in life. And guys, this is a sign that I had hung up that I could look at every single day. And now I get to look at it in real life, and it's an absolute blessing. So I wanted to share with you the importance of that so that you can spend 10-15 minutes every morning to really set down, look at your goals, write them out, write them, even if they're already written out, just write them down again every single day, because the more you write them, the more it becomes a part of you. And then visualize what it's going to actually be like to have accomplished those goals. I love you guys. I'm challenging you, if you have not written out your goals, to write them out and to spend 10 minutes alone in the mornings visualizing what it's going to feel like to have achieved that goal that you've set for yourself. Love you guys. Top Beachbody coach Scotty Hobbs, and I love you guys.